This is the Kenny M Show. Hi, this is Kenny M. Thanks for tuning in once again. This week, I was just sitting there thinking, what should we talk about? And this thing just dropped in my spirit to speak about how we can deal with grief. I've been through I'd say couple challenges, and I just want to share exactly what happened to me and how I went through up until this stage, and hopefully it will bless somebody. I do remember 15 years ago, exactly 15 years ago, it was in March, and I was back in Ghana then finishing my university degree, and this was on the 17th of March. It was my mum's birthday. So normally every year you sort of try and get a little present, gift to her. So what I did that morning, unfortunately that morning she didn't feel really well. I think she was a bit down under. So she was planning on going to see the doctor with my sister. So they were in preparation, i.e. taking their bath and stuff. And the unfortunate thing again was she had suffered cancer. She'd had cancer for nearly 7 years. 7 years. I think her cancer started around 98 there. Yeah, 1998 there. So she had it for 7 years into 2005. But she had battled it very well. Like, my mum is a strong Christian. She's got like good serious good faith, which she's passed down to us, and she was strong, like mentally strong, emotionally strong. So she managed to sort of fight it for all those years. I don't remember her doing any chemo. It was lymphoma, the cancer that normally sort of your red blood cells, that sort of thing. It makes it weak, so that any sort of disease can come onto your body. So she had that for 7 years. So that morning, it wasn't a normal routine hospital appointment. It was because she wasn't feeling very well. I think during that week, she was complaining she wasn't well. I think from the Monday, it was a Thursday. She passed away on a Thursday. So from the Monday, she was complaining she wasn't feeling well, and one of her nurses came home on the Monday. I remember vividly. She went into her room, and every time she sees this particular nurse, Auntie Vida, wherever you are, God bless you. Every time she sees this particular nurse, she feels so well. Like she likes the way this woman speaks to her with respect and all that. So they were in there having a conversation, and I think I was in the living room just doing my own thing. And during that week, so she was okay on the Monday, a bit quiet on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and then on this unfortunate day, Thursday, which was her birthday as well, 17th March, she was 59, yeah. So waiting for my sister to get ready so they go see the doctor. And I thought, right, before they go, let me just dash out quickly to try and get her some 1 or 2 birthday card or something, and then just pop in with them. So I was out in the shop trying to get my hands on whatever I could for mum, and then I saw my sister ringing, and I was like, oh, are they ready to leave? So I picked the phone, and then first thing she said, I think, I'm trying to remember, first thing she said was, come home, where are you, come home, Mum is going, Mum. And I was like, what do you mean Mum is going? And she was like, come on, where are you? Oh. So I tried not to panic, but the first person that came to mind was a friend of mine. Didn't live very far. I thought, let me just go grab him. He's one of my good friends, Fred, wherever you are. God bless you. So I went, drove all the way to where Fred was, picked him up, and then we went straight home. When we got home, we went into the living room, and they weren't in the living room, so they were in her bedroom. So we went into the bedroom, and she was sat on the settee in the sofa in the bedroom, and she was basically just going. And that was the hardest thing I think I've ever seen in my life. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. So Fred just held her hand and started praying. And the next minute I saw him crying. And I was just saying to myself, what the hell is this boy doing? So, cut long story short, like, it just happened. It was that quick. So we had to sort of rush him, picked him up, rushed him into the car. We all got inside, and I'm just looking at driven over 20 years now, but I am looking at the style of driving I did that day. My goodness, I think that's my best so far. I drove like a Formula One driver. There wasn't time to even ring 999, or this is back in Ghana. Like, ambulances don't work like they do out here in the United Kingdom. So I had to get the car to the hospital. So we went to the hospital, put her on the stretcher, took her in, and basically she was gone. And fast forward, went through the funeral and everything, and 15 years forward, I still haven't cried. People say, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you grieve? I do grieve. Not a single day would pass without me thinking about my mum. She was a blessing. She meant everything to me. And I just want us to talk about, like, taking myself, for example, how I managed to pull through this. Yes, it was a shock. It was a shock, and I think the first instance anybody would get from hearing the death or seeing the death of a beloved one is the shock. So I got the shock not from the phone call that my sister did, but I got the shock when we went home and I could see there was no life. I.e., she wasn't coming back. There wasn't any defibrillator around where you pick it up and go boom, 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 or the thought of even let's try and do like a first aid and try and give her CPR. Or no, it was a peaceful shock, and I was just sitting there. We used to watch a lot of Nigerian movies back then, so I was just standing there, and in my head I was replaying a Nigerian movie, thinking this is like a movie, And I think that worked for me, because I used that to heal myself. Although it was very personal, the flashback and the playback I was standing there doing in my head was a way of me to try and accommodate the shock. But most of the time, a lot of people can't really cushion this shock. Some people hear of the death and it just crumbles them. They just get crumbled, and if they're driving, they could crash, or excuse me to say, but it just crumbles them. But the experience I got was, or the experience I sort of had during that situation, I tried to calm myself down by, although I could see it, and I was just thinking in my head, that is this really happening, because that shock, it couples itself with the disbelief that no, it can't be, or why is it happening at this time, and then you go through the process of, you're not really accepting it, you're in denial. No, I could not be in denial because I was there. So maybe sometimes it's good when you're there. You see it for yourself. You actually judge it for yourself. When you're not there, you begin to imagine the sort of pain those around are going through. You begin to imagine how it is, how it felt like, But in this case, I was there. I was present when it happened. So maybe that's why I managed to accept it there and then, rather than denying it. And I didn't bargain at all. Most people say, well, you you have to bargain the whether you actually accept it or not, whether you're in denial. No, it was there. We took her to the hospital. Doctor came around and checked her. They did everything, and they said she'd expired. Like it was difficult to accept it, because this is a woman who's taking care of you for all those years, all those decades, and that was it. Like, you weren't gonna see her again. There wasn't any opportunity for you to say your last bye-byes in the morning before I left the house. That was it. When I was leaving the house in the morning, I saw her in the sitting room, and I said, I'm just popping out for a second, I'll be back. I didn't want to tell her I was going to get her a present for her birthday, obviously not, but if I had known, maybe I would have stayed home. I would have stayed home and spent a little bit more time with her. But in some respect, maybe her sickness for all those years maybe also contributed to the fact that I could accept it, because I felt 7 years. She's had this for 7 years. She's the only one who knows the pain she was going through. So I thought maybe this might be a good thing for her, She doesn't need to go through the pain anymore. She doesn't need to suffer anymore. She doesn't need to... It was hard, Saying it now, after Matt saying it now. And it gave me the strength, I managed to go through the funeral. I've managed to go like 15 years after, and I'm still strong. And what happens again? Dad passes away, like double trouble within 15 years. And yes, his one was unfortunate, because he wasn't well. He'd had stroke for like 10 years, and leading up to Christmas of 2019, he wasn't really feeling well, But nobody was really expecting him to go like that. Although we accept it, his really got to me, I think I might go into his a little bit later, or maybe probably next week. Yeah, I'll just run through his next week. But in all, I thought Mum's experience would have given me like a stepping stone to be able to hold, or to be able to accommodate a second one, but each one and its own experience. That's how I would put it, because my dad's one made me very emotional, although I still haven't cried up until now. I don't think the crying is mine. Everyone in their way of expressing their grief. So I don't think mine lies in crying. It's probably something. Sometimes I don't swing, but sometimes I could maybe keep quiet. My wife tells me I'm a bit of a quieter sometimes, but yes, it puts me in that thinking spree, So I just wanted to share this with somebody out there. Maybe you've lost a mum, you've lost a dad, especially during this season, this COVID season. You've lost a sibling, you've lost a child, whoever that you've lost. I do fully appreciate a loss is a loss, and the person would be very close to you to make you grieve. Or even if the person is not close to you, every death is unbearable. Sometimes you hear of someone's relative passing, and it hits you more than the person was even closer to you. So I just felt, let me just do this to encourage anyone who's going through that situation now. And I'm not going to preach you religion or any spirituality or nothing, but I just want to tell you that it is good to grieve. Find a way to do it, but the assurance you're going to have is, if you are still alive, then to me that tells me there is more for you to do. So yes, although the person has gone, maybe left you something or didn't leave you anything, and you still being here with me, listening to me right this minute, is an assurance that there is life for you to live. And you don't need to be bogged down with the fact that the person has gone, and your life has come to a stop, and you can't move forward with whatever you're doing, and you want to go commit suicide, and your life is not good, and you just want to end it all because the person has passed. No, I want you to rethink. You're here. Someone, maybe they haven't told you, but someone may be looking up to you now, and thinking to themselves, if only I could be like him, if only I could be like her. I just want to encourage you. Don't let it put you down, Just take some solace from it. Yes, it has happened. We all know it has happened, but it might be something good. It was meant to happen. It's difficult to accept it, but it was meant to happen. That is why it happened. And you being alive here with me today means there is something good for you. So pick yourself up. Listen to some more audios. Read some more books. Get closer to close friends. Not every friend, Those that wouldn't do you any good, let them just be. But get closer to good friends. Have good conversations. Be in the midst of positive people. And your life will never be the same. Thank you for listening to me. And I'll come your way again next week. Thank you. This is the KDM Show.